Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Okay, it's already more than 10 minutes gone. So let's start without much delay. How many are here today? Just let me just
18.
18. Okay. So I do see there are our team have like our team has 18, right? Why others are not joining? I see the from other teams also. So why our team everybody not joined? Let me see what are not.
Some issue. That.
Okay.
Chetan is not feeling well, so
Can you Binod, can you note it who are not joining? Just I want their names who are not joining.
actually,
It is not due to anything, but I want to know why they are not joining because this is a mandatory thing. I'm spending my time preparing doing this. So what it takes not for them not to attend it. Cloud expert, I want to know their expertise too.
it's maybe because of the confusion in joining the links, Panch. I
Much
think
time
somebody
it takes
shared the link
for sharing
in the
just
previous.
not everybody joined. Other teams are yeah, but who is responsible? How much time it takes? We all discussed. It is 21 now, and we should be really serious about it. This is spending. I'm spending
We have
my 1 hour, and
majority
people
of the
are not
team
bothered
members
to
here.
join. I see Rohit and Subham, which I believe they know already, and still they are able to join, and who are not able from cloud, and
We
they
have,
are
I
joining.
think, Panch, majority of the participants are from our team only. We have
Right.
Viresh, we have Taresh, Shubham, Satya, Sandeep, Rohit, Priyanka, Nagashri, Maitri, Mohsin, Jagdish, Ashok, Amit, Anjali. Chetan is not well, so he's not there. So I think rest of them are there.
Okay. Fine. Great. Judy, how many are there from your team?
It's only me and Shankar. I've just pinged others.
So I just wanted to know before moving ahead, like if others are not joining, then because they asked, so what is that expectation? Is that expectation was different? Because I understand we have to go ahead with infrastructure as code, but we are still covering the basics. So, but without the basics, obviously we cannot go ahead. So we are reaching there, but I expected whoever attending, they should attend regularly. Right? I'm not telling, or it is not compulsory, but at least we should know who are all attending and whether it makes sense or it should be very professional at least. That if we are committed, you are committed because I expect our team to attend 100%. That's my intention. So I want to know that if it helps the team or not. If it does not help, we'll stop it. But otherwise, I want the feedback that, okay, this is not our expectation. Our expectation was different. I want to know what is that expectation so that if we required, we can change it. We can change the format or we can change the way it has been. So I'm ready to change, but I want to know that. Okay. So, and if there is a different expectation, let me know it, please, so that we'll see how we can change it so that everybody will be benefited. But to tell you everyone, because we have to take everybody into account, there are experts. In fact, our team has got experts, as I just named. There are like Rohit, Subham, they already know cloud. And in fact, a lot of other guys also, they already know cloud. Still, they are attending. So, um, it makes, in fact, as a team, I expect as a whole team to attend it and in fact share thoughts. It's not just my only way, one way, but I want to also know what they're thinking, how it can be better, so that we can be successful together. That is my intention. Okay, so just let me know, please, if ask your team if the format or the way it has to be conducted different, so that we can I can be prepared that way next time, right? This is a very positive way I'm telling. It is nothing against or something. I definitely I'm willing to change the format. I'm willing to change the way if it is required. Okay. Yeah, and I honestly I don't know. Like still I am not figured out how I'll add recording to mine. That's why there all this confusion is there. Okay, great. Judy, are you there? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, so Deepthi is joining.
Yeah, she's imitating.
Okay, great. So let me cover what we have already discussed last time. A little bit. We are trying to implement WordPress application on GCP. And what is the
Can you
intention?
start the meeting?
Sorry?
Can you start the recording?
It's already started long back. So all this, I believe, are recorded. Okay, not to worry. So, guys, we have seen last time how web server is installed, right? See, WordPress will be never implemented on our project. I understand, but why I took this application is because it's a multi-tier application where we have the web server, we have the database server. Though I can put into same server both, same instance, but I have purposefully differentiated. I am implementing in two different servers, which is practical. That means web server in one instance and MySQL is in another instance. So that in a production environment, how actual applications are implemented, we'll see that. That is my intention. Also, another intention of doing it manually is once we understand how it is being implemented manually, next time when we do the infrastructure as code using Terraform, we'll write the Terraform script to do exactly the same thing what we are doing manually. That is my intention. So to understand Terraform, obviously you have to understand how it is done manually. So who are all expecting, because this training was intended for infrastructure as code, because that's what my approach was, right? Learn infrastructure as code, a hands-on approach, right? So to take that forward, we have to understand the basics. That's my intention is. So if somebody are not attending in the expectation that this we are covering very basics, it has just, I have an intention, a purposeful intention of make you understand what it takes to create a multi-tier application manually. And exactly the same thing you will do using Terraform script, right? That is my intention. And same thing, then what we'll do is we are taking GCP now. We'll take Azure next time, that how we can do the same thing manually, right? Then exactly how Terraform can help us implementing that same thing on Azure too. So that means if you learn Terraform, you can do not exactly the same code, of course, but at least the same approach, same syntax, same YAML format, everything. The concept is same, but obviously the resources will be changing for different clouds. So that is what is my intention, just to make you understand how manually it is implemented any multi-tier application. And I have taken this WordPress. Obviously, we could take something else, a .NET application too, but you know that I'm using a for the simplicity, I'm using my personal 3-tier account, which does not allow me to actually create a Windows environment or Windows server. Possibly, I'll figure it out once. Maybe I'll pay that and make it. That is possibly we'll do finally. We'll create a .NET application which can communicate to a MS SQL server in the following sessions, but not now. So we'll try to do as much as possible using Linux. Then once we are comfortable with the concepts, then one final project we'll do is we'll take a .NET application, we'll create a Windows server, and we'll create a MS SQL server, and we'll implement the .NET to communicate to the MS SQL server. Possibly, but that will be a little longer time it will take. Okay, so let's go ahead and create that architecture manually. And you see that we have already created the networking part last time, if you remember, right? We have created the VPC, we have created the subnets. In fact, we created the web server also, right? So we'll start from there. So before starting, anybody has got any questions? I want to know it. If you are happy with that, or if you want it to be different, let me ask here, because I didn't get any feedback, but let me ask now. Is it making any sense? Making it manually, then converting that into a Terraform scripts later? That was my intention, right? So does it make sense? Do you think that will be helpful?
That's the right approach, actually. Doing first manually, then automating.
Okay, so that was my intention of making you understand how manually it is created, because tomorrow when you are writing a Terraform script, we have to actually create that resource. So we should know that for creating that particular VM, like a web server, what it takes. So we'll create the step-by-step approach in the Terraform script. Okay, to create this web server, what I need. Then that way I have to write my script. Okay, so let's go ahead now, finish it today. What we have done last time, the WordPress. Okay, let's do that. The next one, the complete application. We have created the web server. Now today we'll create the MySQL server, and we'll connect them and we'll access it. Let's finish it. Okay. So just to confirm, we'll go to the networking, VPC network, and we'll confirm that our network is still there. So if you see here, I created last time, I created my training VPC. In the training VPC, we have multiple subnets. We have a database subnet, we have a web subnet, right? And we also created some other firewalls last time. If you see here, we have a web tier firewall and we have a database tier firewall. And we understand to show it, what we are allowing here, we are allowing all the IP addresses to communicate to the web server. And with a port number, we are allowing 80. You see here, port number 80. Okay. We are allowing 80 port to be communicated from across the world. Anybody can communicate. That's the firewall. And if you go to the other one, the database tier firewall. So here what we are doing is we are allowing only 10.0.0/24 subnet, which is actually web tier subnet. This is the web tier subnet. This is only allowed with the port 3306. That means only web server can communicate to the database, no other. And with 3306 is the MySQL port. Okay, so that is in accordance with my architecture here. What we are connecting is we are only connecting the web server through the security group, or we can actually call the firewall maybe here in terms firewall to the MySQL server. And this is what is the web subnet, that is 10.0.0/24, 10.0.1.0/24. Okay, So that's my architecture. So giving that background, let's create quickly again. I'll create quickly the instances. I'll not take much time now, because last time we did it already. So create instance, and to do the web server first, I'll call it web server. And I want to create in my east 1 and east B, and I'll give it 2 vCPU, 4 gig RAM, and I'll do that. I'll change it to CentOS. I'll take it 8, the latest. Select. Now I'll allow the networking, and here I'll select my VPC, training VPC, and I'll select the web subnet, and I'll have a public IP, okay? And all others I'll not change, but only thing I'll add is the network tags, okay? So for network tags, I'll open this another console just to, so that it will be useful just to check exactly what is the network tags, because I want it to be exactly the same. Though I remember, but I want to tell you what is the, how we can reduce any mistake you do it, so that you don't do anything. So I want to add this tag. You see here, web tier. So the target tag is web tier tag. Just take this tag, copy it, and just paste it in the network tag here. Okay. And of course, another tag you have to add the SSH, because obviously if I want to do SSH to this instance for me to able to install anything, right? And if you take training SSL, this is a public SSL. If you see here, training, I have created another firewall rule is for SSH to the from public, and this is optional. Host name is an optional thing. You can do it if you want. You can write it, but that should be all for creating the web server. Create it. Okay. While this is creating, let me do the same thing for SQL Server. DB server, and I'll create in the same subnet, that is east and zone, same zone, and I'll change the to CentOS. I'll change it to 8, and I'll set again the networking. In the networking, what I'll do is I'll put my VPC, and in that this time I'll use the DB subnet. Previously, you see here, I selected the web subnet. Now I'm selecting the DB subnet, and I'll not have any public IP. I'll not allow any public IP assigned to the database. Okay, and that's all. And obviously, I have to have the network tags. And which network tag I have to use? Network tag I have to use obviously the DB network tag. This is, you see here, DB tier firewall, and I want to have this DB tier tag, and I put it. And of course, another one which is expectedly, I'll use the private internal SSH, because I should be able to SSH that internally. So I'll add this too, so that I'll be able to SSH from my web tier subnet. Okay, so I believe that's all we should do. Anything else? Okay, great. So now to check it, I can just open multiple tabs for my so that I'll be able to see different things instead of clicking multiple times in the same tab. You see here, web server created, MySQL server deployed, MySQL DB server also created, and both are in the same zone. And the internal IP, you see here, it is assigned a public IP, but this server does not have a public IP. It is only having internal IP. Now, I'll just communicate to my public server, that is the web server, through port 22, that is the SSH server. And if you are a Linux user, it will be the same thing. But I have already taught you how to communicate from Windows. So for the sake of simplicity and faster, I'll use my own terminal here, SSH. I have already added, I said you last time, SSH, you can add the public key SSH add command, but now I'll not do it. I have already done that. And SSH to the public IP. And this is okay because it's not aligned. So what I'll do is SSH and okay. So wait, this person someone is trying to use Nest. It is just thinking that all the okay. Previously, it has some certificates. This is a certificate issue. So no one was. Okay, now I'm able to communicate. Okay, just what I did is don't worry about it. When you're doing first time, you'll not have that issue because I did already multiple times. So it was thinking that somebody is trying to hack it. That is what the SSH certificate. So I cleared the SSH caching from the known host and I could log in now. Okay, so if you see here, this is my web server. I could able to log in, right? Can you see it clearly on screen? I just increased the font. Okay.
Yes.
Now let's install the web server. That is sudo enf install httpd -y. And let me open another session too, so that I could log in there, the Windows. Okay, I'll tell you one more thing here. Okay, this is installed already, so I'll focus on that. And you see here, sudo, I'll start the server, systemctl, and enable httpd. And this is a new, if you don't know, this will actually add two commands into one. It will enable and it will start. Call now. If you give / now, Linux guys, then it will actually create the symlink. It will enable the service and also it will start. So if you can see here, same thing. If you see the status now, it will be started. It will not just enable, it will also start it. So it is active. Now with the public IP address, this one the public IP, I can access it. So that's it. You saw that. Now I am able to access my server. Okay. Now let's download the WordPress package. And I have already, I have already for the faster, I'll just copy the commands. So it will be, we can move faster. I don't want to delay here. Okay, this is WordPress. This is the command. I will just copy it. So it will be faster. Okay. Now I have WordPress. This is the site I downloaded from. Okay. So using call command and hyphen output, you can just download the file, and it is in the WordPress tar format, right? So I have to just untar it. You see now, this is the folder I got, and I have to copy it, cp-r WordPress start. I'll copy it. This will be required as sudo because I'm going to copy to some of the web servers folder where HTML. So this is the folder which actually web server listens to. Sudo cp-r recursively. I have to copy it. Now I will go where HTML and all my files. If you see here, these are the files just now I copied. And now if you just refresh it, the server, just refresh it. One minute. So it should not work. Okay, by the way, it should not work if it is right. Why? Because we have not installed any service related to the package. PHP packages we have not installed yet. So still it is going to the same thing. www.html. It is still showing the same thing. Let's install the packages first. So these are the packages will be needed. You see PHP, MySQL, because you are obviously connecting to MySQL, and that's why these are all, we have already installed HTTPD. Let me install other things as well. So just copy whole thing, and I'll hit a super user. Okay, sudo. So I'm installing all the PHP packages because WordPress is a PHP application. So now all the PHP application, you see this PHP common, PHP FPM, PHP JSON, and PHP support, which is with a MySQL support, are all installed. So what I'll do is I'll just restart the server. Sudo systemctl restart httpd. Okay, just restart it. Let's see now. I'll just refresh it. Okay, you see here now the configuration of WordPress page came here. So now if I give let's go, it will ask me all the details about the WordPress name. Suppose the database name I gave WordPress. I give the admin and password, let it be password, and obviously the database host has to be MySQL DB server, and that was 10.0.16. Okay, it will not work, by the way, just telling you, because we have not installed MySQL yet. 10.0.1.6. It should be like this. If I submit, it will not work. It will take that error establishing database connection. So now let's go ahead and install our MySQL server. So for that, I have to log into MySQL server, and I don't have any external IP. So I have to obviously go through the web server, which I said last time, same thing. So I'll not touch this. I'll now open another terminal, and I'll go SSH -A 9. And I'll take my public IP address, this one. It is now logged in. I attached -a is attached. I attached my certificate, SSH certificate, right? So now from here, SSH 10.0.1.6. So here, now you see here, I logged into my SQL Server. Okay, now let's install SQL Server, and open source MySQL is actually, it is MariaDB now. After Oracle acquired Sun, they renamed, like they didn't support completely the open source community, so there is a new MySQL Server in terms of open source, that is called MariaDB. So sudo dnf install it is actually open source version of MySQL, MariaDB server. So, okay, guys, I wanted to show you something. How many people thought that this will go? This will be successfully installed. I wanted to show you this for purpose. It will not go ahead because why? Anybody can answer me why? It will not install. Will not be able to install it here. Anybody can answer, please?
Because there is no NAT in it.
And who said this?
This is Anwar.
Anwar. Okay. Guys, anybody else? Anwar is absolutely right. So we are running this in a private subnet, right? It's not a public subnet, and it has no way access to the internet. So it cannot, this command will not go to the internet. It cannot communicate to the internet to download these packages. So we have to have a way out for the MySQL server to go out. Obviously, we cannot communicate to this server from outside, but if required, this server should communicate to the outside, but it has no way. There is no way. So we have to add the way, and that is what just Anwar said is a NAT. There is a NAT server concept, networking, which actually solves that purpose. It gives a way for the servers to go out and talk to the internet. So that is what is missing in our architecture. So that is what we want to go ahead to the networking. Let's go to the networking services. If you go here and go to networking, in the networking services, go to the networking service, and you see here load balancing is there, and there is a cloud NAT. Just click that cloud NAT, and get started. So let's create, I'll training NAT. And in the network, training VPC and reason, I want to give the same reason which I'm getting, and cloud router. We need a cloud router, which I have created. If there is no router, actually because it has to be internet route. So it expects we should have a route. Because I already created once in my trial previously, I created a router, that's why it is telling. If it is not there, you are doing new, then you have to create a new router. By the way, if you create a new router, it will ask all these details, and you have to obviously training VPC and give the details and so on and so forth. But once you create that, I can just training router, which I have already created, and NAT mapping, primary and secondary regions of all subnets. I don't want, because anyway, I don't have any secondary IP ranges, so I can just create the primary regions ranges and all subnets. Okay, assign individual IP range also you can give. So let's not that's not our main focus. So I'll just quickly move ahead. NAT IP addresses recommended, and you can give the manual or you can automatically allow. I'll just give automatic and just create it. I'm a little faster here because our main intention is to go towards Terraform. So I'm not that much focused on giving the basics of cloud a little bit now and to move really little faster. Okay, so now NAT is running, if you see here, and after that, let's Control C, I'll give it so that it stops, and I'll just give the same command again. And we are going ahead. You see here, after the NAT got created, it is going ahead and able to download the packages. So we'll quickly wait. We'll wait for this to get over. It will not take much time. Okay, so let's start it. Okay. Now this is MySQL Server started, and now how we have to do is we have to configure it first. We have to create databases. For that, I'll just again copy some of the commands which I've already gave it here, and current password. We don't have any. This is the first installation, so no password. And we want to set a new password. I said yes. I have to give a new password. Anonymous users, yes. Disallow root login, yes. Remove test database, yes. We rewrote privileges, yes. And we are done. So this is, so my laptop battery is getting down 8% only. Why? Let me check. Okay, it's charging now. Now let's create the database quickly, and I'll just copy again the commands. So not open. Okay. So this is the my MariaDB command prompt. Okay, and I have to create a database. Simple. I'll create the database. create database WordPress, and I'll create a user called admin. Okay. So sometimes here it this commands. When you copy it, it does some of the characters it copies, which is not supported. So create user admin at localhost identified with password. So password I'm giving as password. Okay. So it is created now, and I have to give obviously grant all access. So let me just put this in a proper format, because it is not doing it correctly. So what I said is grant all privileges on WordPress database, all the tables, star is all the tables, to admin, and at the rate percentage is from anywhere. This is actually normally the IP addresses or the domain name or the host from where you want to give access, identified by password. Obviously, you have to give the password. So one are affected, and plus all the, after that, privileges. And exit. That's all. With this, I should be able to now communicate. Let's see. Now try again. Database name is WordPress, we just created, and username is admin, password is password, and database which is 10.0.1.6. Table prefix, this is optional. You can give anything of your choice. Subnet, sub. Okay. Okay, there are some other thing we have to take care. It is still not able to communicate. What? The internal firewall of Linux servers. We have allowed outside the Linux servers, but always Linux servers have their own firewalls too. So for the simplicity, I'll stop them completely, because both Linux servers will have their own firewall. Sudo system ctl stop. Sorry, I stop firewall, the stop firewall. Okay, same thing I'll do here. There are two more things I have to do, I know. So after this, let's see. State will not be. I'll tell you step by step, I'm showing you. After stopping the firewall, still it will not be, because Linux is very secure system, and it has got called SE Linux. That also have to be reconfigured. If you go here, just for simplicity, what we can use the command, but once we restart them, it will. There is something command called sudo set enable set what is that? Set or you can do, I am just forgetting that, sudo pi etc se linux config file. Here you have to make it, instead of enforcing the SE Linux, you have to give it permissive. Okay, permissive. So that it can communicate. Same thing here. So, okay, there is a command, I got it now. Sudo set enforce. set and set 0. If you see this, actually this will disable the SE Linux. But once you restart the system, it will not be there. This is temporarily setting it off. But if you want to do it right way, this is the right way. Permanently disabling it or allowing permissive mode. So here also, you have to do it permissive. Some who are all Linux, they can obviously get me. Windows, you'll have little difficulty in understanding what I'm telling here. But this is just clearing some of the security stuffs which is Linux need. So this command will just set it off temporarily. And this one will set it permanently. And this is completely, okay, set enforce 0 is actually this one, when you would completely disable it. If it instead of permissive, what I did is by setting it to 0, it is actually disabled. Anyway, let's not talk more about it. Now I have disabled it, and let me execute the same here too. Because I'm not going to restart them now, because after editing this file, you need to restart the server. I'm not going to restart it. Okay, so this will do the same thing. Now let me check the same thing again. WordPress admin password 10016 and submit. You see here, now it went ahead. Now unable to write to WP config PHP file. So you can write manually to this. Okay, so take this, copy it, and here either you can wp login.php. There is a config file here. Sample will be there. WP config sample, right? Let's change it. Sudo cp to .php. So now wp config.php is there. There is another way you can do it. It is telling its complaint that this file is not writable, unable to write. So it actually tried to write, and it has not this file has not the operation. That means it is, the permission is not there. We can always give the permission. How to give the permission? I'll give chmod or chown -r Apache 2 have student manual. To give sudo. Should be. Go back. Well, it exists, you need to reset it. So okay, all right. You have made it so okay, run the installation. Then what is the file? Maybe sample log. Username I give free Nike here, and password something something just 2 week, that's fine. Confirm user password, email. My email I'll give and search engine will be a little bit storage, install WordPress. Okay, now success your this is my WordPress application. Okay, I installed. So now this is simple. You can write your own WordPress blogs and all. Simple how it looks. Just to check it, it looks like this. Okay, sample blog. And you can, if you want, appearance, just to see just themes, you can change a theme to something different. And this is the active one. This is, you can change, activate. Yes, now it will change to this one. Anyway, I will not go to understanding how WordPress works, but we could do whatever we wanted, and we did it manually. So we installed, going back to the slides, what we did. We installed WordPress by installing web server. We installed MySQL server. We had 2 separate instances in 2 separate subnets, and they are communicating through a firewall. And we also disabled the firewall just for simplicity. Actually, we had to allow particular ports which take the Linux things. I don't want to go into that. That's why I disabled the SE Linux in the both, and that's the internal firewall. Also, I disabled, that is firewall daemon. I disabled, so that means so they can freely communicate, but still this firewall is working. But internally firewalls. So let's remember little for the sake of cloud thing. Let's discuss about security. So what we did is here. This is where I am. I communicate through the internet gateway. There is the traffic reaches to the public subnet, that is the web subnet, and it reaches to the web server through port number 80, and there where my WordPress application is running, that is a PHP application. If it is .NET also, that's fine, but it is same concept. My PHP application is running as a WordPress application here, and that application is communicating to the MySQL server through the firewall. So that is how many hops are there, how many hops it has there. So you see here, internet gateway, you can always control this. You can also control the firewall here. You can also inside the Linux server, you can also control the firewall. We saw that there is a firewall daemon which I disabled, right? If you see the command. So these are the security concepts of when you tell them, okay, you see this? This is the command I used. This is the firewall I stopped inside the inside my web server, right? So that means you can control the traffic inside the Linux. You can control the traffic. Okay, here I believe we have also a firewall here, which I forgot to. I think we have a firewall here too, right? That we saw that, and that is only allowing, right? So we have a firewall here. We have a firewall here, and we have internal firewall in the Linux server also. And there can be another firewall here on the cloud that is called application firewall. That is sometimes outside. What is that? Application and what is that? Anybody? Cloud concept. I'm forgetting, man. Application firewall. That is actually the outermost layer, always. So it is an interview question normally for cloud, always. That what is the first level of defense always you have? That is the application firewall at the outer layer, and that is what is that? Come on, it's not just
App domain.
Huh?
App domain. App domain.
No. Um, um,
Application gateway.
anyway, forget it. So here it is. Let's go to Cloud Console. Here, traffic service directory, load balancing, cloud. Okay, so that is there are some what is that? That's what is that word is not coming to my mind right now. Anyway, that is a security thing. So not coming to my mouth now. So here we have always a firewall, which we don't have right now. We can create a firewall, outer layer, and the traffic first reaches, that's the first layer of defense. Then it goes to the internet gateway. Then it goes to the first firewall, that is the outer layer of the VPC, okay, which enters, the traffic enters here. Then we can control the traffic here. Then we internally also inside the VM, we can control the traffic. Then once it reaches, the application reaches this firewall, then it is the database. Here also there is another OS layer traffic, OS layer firewall also there. So there are various layers of defense you have always. But still, so when you talk to security, how security should be managed, you should know that what are the different layers of defense we have. Okay. Anyway, so that's what is the time now? It is almost 10:39. So we have to stop it here today, and 1 hour gone. But this is what I wanted to teach today. Next time, what we'll see is we'll create 2 web servers, and we'll create a front load balancer. We will create load balancer, and there we'll stop, and we'll have the auto scaling also enabled. We'll see that because that concept is required for practical purposes before we jump into the Terraform. So what we'll do the same thing, what we did today, if you see all these things, we'll say install the WordPress application into, what is my, everything, what we did here, we'll do that in a simple script using Terraform. And we'll go step-by-step approach, understanding Terraform, how we can completely by single command using a Terraform script, we can create everything and we don't have to do anything manually. And our application will be ready. So that will be my intention, final intention, to make you enable so that you can write your own script and you can just fire a command and give the file, that is the Terraform script, as input and create the whole infrastructure. That's what we call infrastructure as code. You see here, that means we'll create the whole infrastructure for our application using a code. Okay, that will be my intention. Got it? Any questions? I'll stop the recording. So how the recording will stop? Recorder manager is link. Stop. Okay, got it. Stop recording.